There we go. Get your car now, Colin. So how are you, Colin B? 289. Well, as I should say, LOI. Wait, before I welcome you in, welcome to LOI Big Slaters podcast for League of Ireland. I'll be taking over now on the L podcast. I thought it was a good addition to LOI. What do you think, Colin?
Yeah, absolutely. Very good addition, to be fair, and thank you for having me this evening.
Yeah, you're
And,
the first. You're the first one this
very
season.
Honoured to be number one on one list anyway. So that's very good for me.
That's good. That's good. So where could I start with you, Colin? So what? This is your this is what your second really proper season. Well, you're here since season.
Yeah, my second full season. Yeah.
So
my second full season. So I was in season 4. I joined at the 5th race of season 4, which was Hungary last season, and I was in the Red Bull. And the two drivers both got kicked. I remember that.
But so first of all, we'll start. We go back to the past, alright? So we'll start with yourself, alright? So you're big knowledgeable about Formula 1. So obviously this is the main topic about it. But tell us a bit yourself. Like how'd you get into F1, and who was your favourite driver growing up?
To be honest, I watched 1 or 2 races back in kind of 08 or 09, that type of era, but I didn't watch. I wasn't watching a full season. I was only watching the races I could really watch. I wasn't like dying to watch it. It was one of them where, and the car I always loved most was the McLaren, and I still support the McLaren now, and yeah, just whoever was in the McLaren team really. And when I was growing up, it was Lewis Hamilton, and then the second driver was kind of changing a lot, and then it came out to be Jenson Button, and then the two of them were kind of my favourites then, kind of growing up really, and then watching them I kind of missed them I kind of got them at a bad time, because it was the Vettel era really when I started really getting into it. So that's when I kind of started, and I started playing F1. Actually, F1 2011 was the first game I actually played. So that's when I was really, really like getting into it and getting to know what each thing does, and with the setups and the whole shebang really. So that was it really.
Yeah, so that's like obviously. And would Hamilton be our number one, or Jensen be our number one? Who'd be our number one? Obviously, watching now, probably Hamilton be our favourite. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, if it was Hamilton Rosberg type now, I would say Hamilton. But now Max is coming through, and I love the way Max is just different. He just doesn't care. Just Max really doesn't care about Hamilton. It's just he goes for it, and that's it. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the car in front. And I love that about Max as well. So I'd like to see Red Bull win it this year, actually, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's interesting now, the way how it just transformed there. But like obviously, like some drivers can catch your eye, like as well. Like you start to grow on certain drivers because you're older now, and you remember more things when you're a bit older as well. And it's good to like different personalities, and it's good to have different personalities anywhere you go. Anyway, but
yeah, absolutely.
Jeez, and then so you grew, so you like Max and all, but who do you think will win the championship this year now?
I think it still will be Red Bull, and I still think it'll be Max. I think Mercedes' luck will eventually run out. I really do. I just think I think you can't keep doing these things to Max and getting away with it, and not like the big thing for me was Lewis had a great chance to win that race and really stamp his authority on the championship in Hungary, and he never took advantage of it. And I think that might come back to bite him. I know now it's only 7 points, but those 7 points might come back to bite him. If they really might, in my view.
That's correct.
Because that's how close I think it will be this season, and Max will not bottle it when it comes to it, in my view.
Yeah. Because, like, you can only have certain amount of bad luck, you know. Like,
yeah,
so he's had...
it will swing at some stage where something happens to Hamilton, in my mind.
Yeah, and it could be in a couple of 2 weeks' time. Well, a week.
I mean, if it happens at Netherlands stuff, it gotta be the one place where Verstappen would want it to happen in front of his home crowd. But that for me would be very, very interesting. What that'll be like.
That's it. Be nice to see if they're level on points by then. It'll be interesting, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that's your verdict on the season. So we'll so we get you into LOI. So what made you get in to the league, and who was there? And
yeah. So to be honest with you, it was when I was watching some of the streams. I was watching Dan OM and Saucy and their streams, and I saw one for LOI, and I was thinking straight away I could join it. And then in January last year, I tested positive for COVID, so that kind of set me back. And I was like, oh, for God's sake, here we go. And I couldn't play the game for about a week and a half. So it wasn't that good, the experience I went through. So then, obviously, I got towards... We had a championship at home down in Cork with the two of them, myself, and all other of my friends. And I asked them one night, was there any chance I could join LOI, because I'd like to do league racing. And they put me in, and they said, look, Colin, this is the Discord link and everything. And they asked me, am I absolutely fully committed to it? I said, yeah, 100% committed. That won't be an issue. So they sent me the link, all that, and they said to me, look, Colin, you might not get into LOI straight away. I was like, yeah, that's no problem. And then within 2 days in the Discord, I was driving my first race. So that's how quick it happened, really.
Yeah, like...
I didn't really have much time to get used to the Discord and how it worked and everything, because I was in it, and then straight away I was racing. I was like, oh, that's not much notice, but look, it is what it is, so let's just get on with it.
That's it, and obviously obviously you did a bit with the lads in Cork, and that was your first time doing league racing with them, yeah? Correct?
Yeah, it was. It wasn't really, it was just kind of a friendly little league, really. That's kind of all it was. Yeah. And we were doing it twice a week, so we were I was constantly racing, but never on a league racing level. And then this was the first time I really got into league racing this season. I thought it's actually interesting, because we've done all the tracks so many times, but yes, when you join the League of Ireland, I got a bit of a surprise alright in my first race, so that'll be that was a bit of a surprise alright, because it was weird, because all those leagues we were doing at home, I was actually winning all the races. So, and then all of a sudden it flip-flopped. It's as if when I got COVID it flip-flopped, and they kind of got on top of me, and it was kind of interesting that way, really, you know. So
yeah, that's it's good that the way you had that little bit of experience coming in. It's always good to have a bit of knowledge on how to race. Like, some people, like, they're not bad drivers at the end of the day, some aren't, and they get real excited, but like, you've adapted very strong. I think your first race was Hungary, I can remember, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Hungary. It was a wet qualifying, actually. I was very worried about that track. I tell you now, I was looking around at assists, because I wanted to take assists off, and that was kind of the time I was doing it, and that's why I was told on the Monday evening I was in for Hungary. I was like, oh shit, I've only got 1 day to prepare for this. I'm kind of a bit on my back foot, and I obviously was down the field in quality and didn't have a great race, but that for me wasn't the most important thing. I was just bloody, at the moment, just getting used to the pace, getting used to what kind of happens after the race and everything, you know. It wasn't nothing to do with the actual race itself, really. I finished, and that's kind of all I wanted to do.
Yeah, that's true, and that was like Hungary was a good bit into the season, so like it's very hard to gauge then where to go from there. Obviously that was your first race in season 3. then so coming on, like there's a few good, like you're just building your pace up and getting there. Like where would you
Yeah.
say, like in season 3, alright, when you joined, did you have any goals or anything, or is it too far back to remember?
No, no, I just wanted to make sure I was competitive. That's kind of all I wanted. I just wanted to make sure that I was going to be in tier 1 for season 5. That was pretty much all. I just wanted to make sure I was. Because it's interesting, because I actually knew all the names coming into the league, because I'd watched the streams as well, you see, of League of Ireland. So I kind of knew who was up front and who wasn't, but I didn't exactly know the championship standings, but I knew who the big fellas were and who was kind of in the midfield. So that was, I kind of knew a bit about who was where coming into the league as well, so that kind of helped me a bit, I think, at the same time. I got a bit of a surprise I was in Hungary when Tommy got a podium, but that's because I didn't know of Tommy, because he wasn't in tier 1 in season 4, but you know, that's just the way it is. That kind of woke me up in Hungary a lot, and yeah, and as the season went on, then I kind of picked up points finishes, you know, and that was kind of the goal, really, you know. That was it.
That was it, and obviously, then you obviously knew where you stood, and obviously,
Yeah,
coming into a new season, well, you're season 4 now. Then, like, you had so you knew where you were going to compete in. Oh, you started in season 4 actually.
I
Was it
started in season 4. I started
Yeah,
in
season 4.
so,
So like last season was like, so you only had like a season and a half. When you think
Yeah.
about a season and a bit, really. So like obviously season 4, obviously you had that podium in Australia.
Yeah,
Um, like joining a league, and season 4 was like, it was great. Like every season was getting competitive, and that was a very competitive season as well.
yeah.
Every season was. But what were you like when you're getting your first podium? Was it a shock?
It was a massive shock because it was very interesting. Like, to be honest with you, I think it kind of started the week before in Brazil, because I had a bad race. I was Singapore. I had a bad race in season 4, and I had to retire because I had an internet issue and I was lagging a lot and I was in the wall, and I had to say I have to retire. I don't like retiring, but I had to. I had no option. And then Japan, I got taken out behind the safety car. I can't remember who it was now, but I was in a good position in Japan, and unfortunately an internet issue again from someone else hit me from behind. And, you know, that's just the way it is. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing I could do about it, and just have to move on. And then Brazil, it was interesting because it was a dry, wet qualifying, if I remember correctly. And I made a mess of my quality lap, but I made so much of a mess of it, I started P11.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Steve Saucy, my good buddy, jumped me off the line, and he genuinely told me the whole way along on the soft stint. We were both on the same strategy. He told me along, and eventually I got to P7. We were both there, like, cause Dan and Connell were ahead of us, I remember, and the aim was to catch them, and then they both got a penalty, and they're like, oh, that's the job. So we jumped them and ended up in a good recovery drive. So I had a bit of drove well that week. And then the Australia race, we had a race on the Monday night, which was also in Australia, down in Cork, that league. And I got beaten by 50 seconds. I was like, oh, this can't happen now. God, oh, bloody mighty. Steve absolutely walked it. So I was like, right, what am I going to do differently this time? And it was a bit of a steal of a podium, really, because there was a lot happening that race. I think O'Sheen was one who was ahead of me, had a problem, and Conor O'Bee was ahead of me and he had a problem. Then Steve binned it, and then one or two people Dan got penalties, Connell got penalties, and I just stole a podium, you know. That's kind of all it was, really. And just on my stream, alright, I went a bit berserk, alright. I couldn't believe I had a podium after the problems I kind of had the previous night, you know. I was never expecting to be on the podium in Australia, not in a million years.
And like looking back here at Italy, like, so you started in Hungary, and
Yeah, I finished 12th, if I remember. 13th,
yeah,
I can't remember what it was.
and then you had Italy, Belgium 8th and 7th, 10th in Japan, then obviously
Yeah.
Singapore, and like like you're a points harvesting machine. You don't realize like
Yeah.
you always getting out
Yeah.
points. Then obviously you got that third place. That was a tough race. That was a very tough.
That
That
was
was
hard.
very.
That was hard.
And do you think that was probably your best performance, like since then, like so far? Then when you're joined, obviously you had third
Yeah.
place. You just knew becoming you're coming better.
Yeah, I knew then at that stage, taking the assists off was working. It really was working out for me because I just had a little bit of momentum then, and I was like, I'm doing all right in League of Ireland. I wasn't doing so well in the leagues at home, but I was doing well in League of Ireland when it mattered, and that's kind of what was still in the back of my mind. And I was still doing well on the one I really wanted to do well on. Because obviously taking the assists off at the start with the lads, I was out of the championship hunt really early, so I was just even then going for it, so I was prioritising League of Ireland. And yeah, I think the podium really helped me because I was like, right, I'm going to be in tier 1 now, it doesn't matter what happens now, I know I can do it in tier 1, so it's just a matter of going and doing it, you know. So that's, I was very jumpy, alright, but I was lucky in Australia with that podium as well that Dan was behind me. I had a real gun there pretty much because he had 12 seconds and I could kind of, I'd know Dan, he wouldn't drive into me or do something stupid because he knows he's got a big penalty and I'm chasing my podium, you know, so that helped too, definitely.
Yeah, like it's just mad. Like I remember you when you came in, like Dan and Steve saying, yeah, I remember Dan and Steve saying like they were chatting to me because I'm very close with them too, like gentlemen.
Yeah.
And said, yeah, like we have a new lad, and I go 100%, bring him in. And I'm delighted that I got you in, like, and like it just goes, you were getting better. Then, like when you think about it, like how quick you've jumped. You became a top 15 driver in the country in my eyes. Like, if you want to be in it, you want to be the best driver in the country, go into League of Ireland Tier 1, try fight against them and see what you are, because that's what I value anyway. But like I think you're doing great in that season. So like that was just as building block from there, and then season 5. Then we're going on to season 5, and we're gonna name rivals this season. And what were you expecting, if you can remember, of last season? So
it was very strange actually going into season 5 because obviously we started off, the teams were announced, the calendar was announced, it was all fine, and then it was as if I remember I was meant to be with Tommy in the Red Bull, and then Tommy moved with Owen to Haas and Conor O'Bee moved down. But the funny thing was, I wasn't even told it. I only found out when Tommy was actually on the podcast, is when I actually first found out he was gone. I didn't actually know. So that happened behind my back pretty much. And then I was moving then from Red Bull to Alpha Tauri because O'Sheen wanted to be with Conor, which I had no issue with, but that was no problem then. So, to be honest with you, moving cars and everything, it was kind of a bit weird at the start. And then that question about, no, I had no target really for that season. I mean, yeah, look, if I was to be there or thereabouts, great, but I didn't really have any targets in mind, you know, because I knew last season would be very, very tight. I knew last season there'd be a lot more people that could win a race, but I knew consistency would be the most important thing in that season, last season. And well, you proved that to be the case, because I think you only had like 2 poles, and was it 3 wins or 4 wins, Paddy? Or what was it?
5 wins.
5 is it? Yeah, well. Yeah,
So,
but there was a lot of people won 1 race, and I know Saucy won 2, but
I think Belgium, I could have had a win there. Like it's if some would have could have, but it's a very strong track for me in the race, and I've never lost there around there. But look, that's what happens. But
it does.
Gone like back to yourself now. So that, like, you're looking at it there, like I think you had the longest point streak. Like, I think you took it off. You took it off me, actually. I have my longest point.
It was in Spa,
yeah,
wasn't it?
and I think you had the longest point streak in the league at that point. So, like, you were on it. Like, when you think about it, like, I think you've nearly finished in the points. Like, not 3 races probably altogether now.
Yeah, it's 3 races in a row. I have never finished in the points. Oh, sorry. Yeah, but by the Singapore internet issue, the other 2 were just 1 or 2 incidents happened in them. Just a bit of a messy race. Brazil, there was nothing I could do about. But you know, it just is what it is. I mean, just keep the scoreboard ticking over. Oh, excuse me, that's Jesus. Sorry. Just keep the scoreboard ticking over, and whatever happens at the end happens. You know, that's kind of all I did really, and just take advantage of other people's errors, because we all make errors. Everybody makes errors, as we're going to come to now in a second, myself included. But like, just the first couple of races of the season, you don't know where you're going to be. So just if you keep picking up the points, and then see. My biggest thing was see where I was after 4 races. Just see where I was. This is where I am in the championship. Right, okay. Do I need to change anything? Do I need to do anything differently? That's pretty much what I was looking at, really. You know, I didn't really set a goal in time. I was just kind of just racing. Whatever happened.
Yeah, that's it. I think you were just. I think it's just building yourself as a driver, like getting higher and higher up, because. Like, I think it's good to see little goals like that, and especially like you went on like we go on to it, like you were on the point streak, and then like it was just that, like you had the podium from the season before, and then you went to Abu Dhabi. I can remember, and I remember I was in the party with you in that race actually.
We were there.
Yeah, and I think
that actually, do you know what? As much that was a bad race for me, but it was probably the most race I actually learned a lot about myself in League of Ireland, because I had the net race lead in that race, and I got too excited and I got a bit of an adrenaline rush, and I thought about the finish line when it was only halfway through the race, and it's as simple as that. Big mistake I made, and I thought about the situation when all I should have been doing was just keeping my head down. You know, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, that's it. Like races like that, like, because you still got points from it, so it's not the end of the world. And you're on a points. You obviously wanted to keep that point scoring streak up, and like you weren't fighting like for like the top 3 then. So like it was just like in the championship. So it was just like, I think it was good to know they have the experience being there, and to know, like, especially we're going to get on to now in this season, but like to know what it feels like. And I think it does grow you as I think you need a race like that, and to know who you are.
100%,
because it actually gives you a confidence boost, and really, like, it's your progression's like a ladder. Like, it's just going up. It's not like hugely jumping up like some other people, but it's just keep going up and up and up. But then Abu Dhabi, we're past that. We went to Belgium, then onwards, and then to Brazil near the end. What was that like? Not like, I know like you had issues like during the race. Wasn't it like, not during the race you didn't have issues, near the end of the race? The end of the race you had like...
it was the very end of the race. So basically what happened was, because you were right behind me, and you and I jumped straight into pits, and the rest of the lads stayed out. And I was like, oh, well, we're not looking too bad here. And then Tugbird was ahead of us, and there was the 3 lads went 3 wide ahead, and there was just a massive accident, and I just got caught behind it. I had nowhere to go. It was just very, very unfortunate. There was very little I could do. I mean, the cars were just going all over the place. There might have been a bit of lag involved as well, if I remember, but it was just... Yeah, it's just an unfortunate moment that happened, and I just had to move on with it. Like, I was annoyed afterwards, but I think going back to the Abu Dhabi race, I think that was one where I actually calmed down a lot. Like, any instance that happened, I just kind of calmed down, let it go, and move on. You know? And I just think that's kind of the way I kind of took that race, really, because the new game was just out. I had the new game early, actually, and I wasn't that overly disappointed with that Brazil after. I was disappointed, obviously, I would be, but I wasn't. I wasn't gutted about it. You know, it was just one of those situations that, look, it was an incident, but they happen. Incidents happen. It wasn't deliberate. There was nothing deliberate about it. So none of us do this deliberately. That's the thing. So you just have to move on and get on with it, really.
Exactly, and obviously.
And that's when the point streak ended. That's what kind of hurt most, actually, was the fact the point streak ended. That's kind of what hurt me most. It wasn't nothing to do with the championship, nothing to do with where I actually finished. It was the fact that the point streak was finished, and that's what kind of hurt me most.
Yeah, it's very, and it's like you don't realise how hard it is to do a season in the points.
Yeah.
Like that is
very tough. Very tough.
Like no matter what tier you are, even if you're in the lowest, like you could be in the lowest tier and you can get points every race. Like that is, it's an achievement. Because I'm trying to think now. I think not even 5 drivers haven't even done it. I don't think. I say be about 3 or 4. So yeah, I've done it. 3 or 4 I've probably about done it. I've now Jono's done it. I think is I know Smoking Aces has done it. I think he's done it in tier 4, and I think Owen has done. I'm not too sure that Owen do it, but I'm not 100% sure. But just trying to think. I had to look back at it, but yeah, like that's as big. It's like 11 races out, like 12. Like that's ridiculous. Like getting in the points, and so that was season 5. And then obviously, what did you take from that season coming into now this season? 5-week break, obviously with a new game, it's got to be a big transition. So a big break is probably the best that you need to get used to the game. And what do you think now? Like, how did you find yourself now at season 5 there?
To be honest with you, I was kind of happy the season was over, and I just kind of had a bit of a break. I just had a bit of a breather just to kind of regroup and put things together, put things kind of behind me, and just kind of go, right, this is what happened. Alright, grand, no problem. And then we got on to the new game, and one thing I was actually what I really wanted to do early on the new game was race every track. So I went to career mode before the teams were announced and everything, and I actually made sure I did a race around every single track. So I kind of know what I need to do at this circuit and what I need to do at each and every circuit, and that's kind of actually proved very beneficial to me, I think, because like I've an idea of what setups to run around those race tracks now. I have a feel for the car around these tracks, so obviously I have my good ones and my bad ones, and everybody has them, but that was one thing I was very anxious to kind of do before the season started, because I had no idea what the calendar was going to be. Even on the night it was announced, I had absolutely no idea. I was told nothing about the calendar. So I had a bit of a guess written down when it might be, but you're just never sure for certain. You're never 100% sure. So it's just one of them. So I made sure beforehand, race every track. We did a little bit of co-op with Farrell, and that helped a little bit as well, because obviously there was rumours going around the paddock that he could be my teammate, and as it turned out, it has happened. So no, that's kind of what it was really. Just get into the new game, do a bit of time trial, but also do a race, and see where I'm going to be. And that was the most important thing for me.
That's it. Like, it's good. I like hearing other people's perspectives, and when people have their own different ways when a game comes out, or even like if you like F1 2020, like even like that game, like if for the whole game, like you people have different methods of practicing and improving. But like, did you just like obviously there, like, who would have been your biggest rival now since in LOI, and who's going to be your biggest rival going forward? You can name 2 or 3 if you have to.
I mean, like when we've had the leagues down in Cork, Steve and Dan have always been a different party to me, so there's always going to be, okay, there's a respect there between us from the same county, we're good buddies, but on the track there is a bit of a rivalry there. No doubt, and there's no doubt. I could kind of see it in other races when we've kind of been together on track. It's like, oh, right, we cannot lose to him, or we can't lose to him, or whatever, you know? Because we don't like to be the last of the three, or last of three lads, or whoever. So I kind of have a little bit of a little friendly thing going on with them, and yeah, to be honest with you, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say I've been in any big rivalries. Like I haven't been involved in any big crashes or any big incidents. I kind of find a way to keep my way out of trouble, you know. And I don't really see a big rivalry, you know. I don't have a big rivalry with anybody, and yeah, I just kind of I just don't really. It doesn't really bother me. Like if there's a rivalry or not, it's just one of them where just the physio racing, or you got to pass him. You know, that's kind of it, really.
That's it. Like that's 100% the way to look at it.
Because in tier one at the top level, you're going to be racing different people at different tracks. Very rarely you're going to be racing the same people 3, 4, 5 times a season. It very rarely works out that way. It really does. And that's the one thing I've learned from it. One of the big things I've learned from LOI is you race different people every week. Very rarely you're kind of on the same piece of track as, you know, as it's the same people, you know. So that's kind of just kind of the way it is, really, you know.
Yeah, that's it. Like it's hard to be good at every track, isn't it?
Yeah,
like you're right
yeah,
there.
It is, absolutely.
Like that's, and it's good to have that mindset as well. Like to think about every track and not just one dependent track. And just like, oh, I like this track because I'm good at it, you know?
Yeah.
There's tracks there you probably dislike, and you just have to make them good tracks, really, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, Spa, for me, Spa is an absolute nightmare of a circuit. I don't like Spa, I'll just be completely honest with you. But even for season 5, I was really struggling around Spa. I really was. And I was saying to people beforehand, I needed a bit of a messy race to take advantage of it. And, well, it happened. Obviously, I know you were involved, but that's the type of thing I needed at that specific track to happen, and it did. You know, so you never know what can happen at the first lap or the first corner of any race. Like, there's no point in my mind going into a track going, oh, I will do well here, because you just never know. You gotta take your opportunities when they come. You might get an opportunity of a podium somewhere along the line that you never thought you'd have one. You know, so you just gotta kind of like get on with it, really. I mean, it's like, okay, that's the track. Let's see what we can do. And yeah, the same for Monaco this week is kind of not my favourite track, but you know, just hang in there, see what happens, and just go with it.
Yeah, so like that's the way it is, and so like you're breaking it down there. You don't really have a rival. You're just going to race whoever's going to be there, but obviously it'd be nice to beat the lads, the Cork lads.
It would be, yeah, it would be.
That's it.
They're all in the same party except me, like, so it would kind of be nice to beat them, right? But
that's
it's going to be tough because I'm missing a couple of races, of course, and that's a bit of a setback, actually.
And they're quick as well, like they're quick lad. Like you said, like I think title might be down in Cork when you think about it. Like it could.
There's every chance it might be. I mean, I have to say before the start of the season, I thought Surrey would win. I have to say that, but I mean, the DNF in Australia obviously puts him on the back foot straight away. So you never know. There is a possible chance that the 2 championships are down in Cork next season in Tier 1.
Yeah, that's true, 100%. And what would it mean to you? If, like, I know you're gonna miss 2, right? What would it mean if you won the world title in Tier 1? What would it, like, mean to you?
It'll be unbelievable. It'll be absolutely unbelievable because by a million miles the best thing I'd ever done if I was to win it. Because there's a lot of work that has to go into it. That's gonna have to be done to do it, and yeah, you're up against people who are. Some are slightly better, some are slightly worse, but we're all kind of around a similar type of pace that we're all capable of, so You genuinely need to be there every week, and you're up against the best people in the country. That's what I am up against, and I am obviously one of them as well. And hopefully, I can actually just be able to say, look, I can actually do it. And I think the race last week actually proved myself I can actually do it. I can be out front, and I can actually win a race, even though I was very, very close to it the other night. But you know, I think that's another thing I kind of needed to do, which kind of makes me think, you know what, I can actually win the World Championship. Obviously it's not going to be easy, but look, you just have to do what you do, you know, so.
That's it, because like as you said, it's a lot of work and a lot of part. Like, you think about it, it's like you're going to a football match and you're training, but you're actually putting in mad hours, like, especially, like, I don't know if it's about, like, you just have to put some, like, you can't get away without not practicing in tier 1. You can't because you'll be exposed.
Yeah.
You think you can do it, but you will be exposed. And if you, like, if somebody wins that, like, would you, like, they are the fastest in the country, like, would you, like, say that if you win tier 1 LOI, would you say that you're the fastest F1 2021? Like, whoever wins it this, they'd be the fastest in the country.
I suppose you probably would say that.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, when you say fastest, like, people can say that different ways. Like, other people think, oh,
ranked number one.
For me, I think the fastest driver is the person who does best in time trial. I really do. I don't think you can say that in a race, though, because the race is completely different to time trial and qualifying. Like, I'll admit myself, I have been absolutely useless at qualifying in LOI. I really have. Like, I have not been anywhere near the front row in any qualifying session whatsoever. But for some strange but somehow I'm able to go forward in every race. I'm able to get off the lane okay, and then go forward in the races. Very rarely I kind of lose positions off the lane, and very rarely I lose positions from my race starting point. And I think, like, I'm not the fastest driver in Tier 1 by a million miles, but I think my race pace has been very solid in Tier 1. So I think when you say who's the fastest, I would say probably time trial, but I think you can be the fastest driver, but if you can't get off the line in a place like Monaco, that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So that's the way I look at it. So you got to balance it.
It's probably the best driver. You're probably the best. Yeah. It's not the fat. So would your ranking is the best driver then?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Especially with the calendar this year, because a lot of the tracks are kind of narrow tracks and they're easy to spin at, and the curbs are higher and everything. So it's going to be the driver with the most skill and the most bravery, really, for me, that's going to do it.
And like, that's, yeah, like, it just, and like, obviously we go to Australia there, round 1, we're only done one race. Qualifying wasn't, as you said, you're not the strongest, but when the race went, did you believe in yourself you're going to be there? And it's hard with, like, I know you have practice races and all, and some people, like, are smart and they don't show their hand a lot, but when it's a league race, it's all guns blazing. You have to give it all guns blazing.
Oh, you have to, absolutely.
But sometimes you could have a bad race, but, like, that's the nature of it. But what did you think now? Break us through your race and, like,
yeah, so basically, I know I live stream as well, so people kind of know what's kind of going on. And after qualifying, I was very annoyed. I'll admit, I was kind of annoyed. I was like, oh, bollocks, P10, I don't get a free tyre choice. People around me a free tyre choice, I'm going to be in traffic, okay, grand. And someone actually, it was funny, I was there thinking to myself straight away, you know what, Carl, I watched the race in Australia in season 4 on the morning of the race, because to kind of get good memories of the track, because obviously I had my podium there and everything. And it's like, you know what, Carl, you done it once, why can't you do it again? There's no reason why you can't do it again. And then the first lap couldn't have gone any better for me, the way it all worked out. I mean, Ryan Dabb spun in front of me, and he spun left, and I was on the right side, so I was able to get past him and get past Miles. And then Dilzer had damage, and Dan OM had damage, and O'Sheen had damage, so I was able to work my way around them. And I actually had a minor bit of front wing damage, which I didn't know. I'll be honest with you, I could kind of feel a bit of understeer, but I just thought that might have been because of higher fuel or whatever. And then the virtual safety car came out for Mike, was the first retirement. And I chose not to pit because I was like, oh, it's just only a virtual, so it'll be fine. And then the next lap later, Jack binned it, which was a shock to everyone because that actually really helped me because that was a driver who was 5 seconds up the road from me because I lost a lot of time clearing those cars. So he was about 5 or 6 seconds up the road from me. So that was a driver out of the way, from my point of view. I'm sorry, Jack, I know if you might be tuning in here, but I was absolutely thrilled he crashed because that's a free position for me. You know, that's the way you have to think when you're in this situation. And so then obviously the virtual safety car came out. I was right on the pit in entry and I boxed. I made that call myself because I could see there was a massive gap. I could drop in ahead of Dan OM after my pit stop. So I was in a bit of a window, and then the safety car came out. People followed me in behind, and I was in free air. And then behind the safety car, stuck behind Box and Steve. And I was like, that's not too bad now. And then Liam hadn't pitted behind the safety car. He stayed out in his soft tyres. And Connell started on mediums, and was out there also on mediums. So that was fine. So being P5, then the safety car restarted a new front wing. And I was pretty good. I was pretty happy behind the lads, and then just basically had to follow them for the whole race. And at some stage, though, I was like, one of us is going to make a mistake. You don't go 25 laps when you're on nose to tail 3 lads, and someone doesn't make an error. It usually does happen that someone eventually will make a mistake. And thankfully, from my point of view, sorry now again, Bucks, but thankfully Bucks made the error. You know, he got a corner cutting penalty behind the virtual safety car, and then he made a mistake at turn 12, and I was able to get by him. So that was nice. And then obviously trying to attack Steve at the end. But look, I was obviously very happy with how I drove because my race pace was really strong. It was really, really strong. I was very happy with it, and I was very calm. I learned my lesson from Abu Dhabi not to get too excited. I was actually very, very calm behind the wheel because I knew it was a 3-horse race, and I was third of 3, and I was a hunter.
That's it, like, and even if you got a penalty, you're ahead of Bucks, so, like, cause you had nothing to lose.
I was alright.
Like, in that situation, I remember watching the race, and it was just a different Colin. Like, there was just, like, I remember, like, we barely came up, actually. We've never came, like, close to each other, like, even coming out of pit stops or anything, like, but there were stages that we did, but I remember, like, you were a bit lenient, but like you were so respectful, but that's just when your driving was like in your style. But obviously you were just a different beast when you came, and you're a nice, like I said, like your hard work's starting to pay off.
Yeah. Like
you could see it folding. You could see in the previous season, and when you started, like how much you've progressed. And it's just folding them, like, it's unbelievable, like, but, like, that's it, like, it's only one race down, and obviously, you had a wing damage, okay?
I had a little bit of wing damage, yeah.
Do you think that cost, did you have that at that point of the race, the last couple of laps?
No, I changed the wings behind the safety car, and I was able to actually hold position, and that's why I made the early pit stop. I knew I could hold position.
That's
because I'd already, you see, this is something I do in the practice race. I'm giving away something here now, but this is something I do in the practice races. I always go to the last 2 or 3 corners and I pick out a spot on the track, and that's where I know I'm going to come out. And whatever that spot is, I pick a spot out and I'm like, right, that's where I'm going to come out. And I would have been ahead of Dan OM after my pit stop, so it was well worth it. Even if behind the VSC, it'd have been well worth it.
That's it. It'd
have been well worth the pit stop. And then the safety car bunched everybody up again, and you know, I think this one as well though, this is kind of the first time where I could actually think, you know what, I felt like I could actually win this race. I really actually thought I could win the race on Tuesday. I really believe I could win the race. And I think that was the other thing about me being, I was a little bit too cautious, maybe we'll say, since some of my moves last season or the season before. But that's something I've obviously worked with this season, and you know, obviously I'd one opportunity to pass box, and I took it. You know, you've got to be ruthless, like when it matters. And I do feel like if I had a couple more laps of Steve, I'd have had him. I do believe I might have had a good chance of getting him, but you know, it is what it is. So I'd have taken. I mean, if you offer me P2 from 10th on the grid, I'd have absolutely slapped your hand off. So I've no complaints.
That's it. Like it's you're in the podium. Like that's P2 as well. 18 points is a very good chunk of points. Like it's all about like setting a target and then just achieving it. Like take it race by race.
Yep.
And yeah, so you got the P2, and then like you have to be up there with one of like your like I think the Boom was back would be his L Paddy Power odds with Tier 1 will be a bit different story now, but yeah, so just well done on that. Like that's what I have to just say.
We'll leave Gary to that. He doesn't have to show anybody.
Yeah, I'll try to get him on this, but so that's that, and then you and Farrell obviously are gonna talk because he's your teammate.
Yeah.
How he is as a team, like together. How are you finding your own like environment and him? Well, you can't speak for him, but like. What in your environment?
It's very comfortable actually, because I'm with someone now who knows what he's doing with setups as well. You know, it's not like before with my teammates. Last season I couldn't really have a rhythm actually, because my rhythm, it was Tommy at first, then it was Cruiser I think it was, and then he moved on, and it was Slim for a couple of races, but I didn't really know. I only knew on the day it was going to be Slim, so I couldn't really work with him. And then it was, I think, Johnny reserve one race, DKF one reserve one race, Mike reserve one race, and then it was Miles at the end. So it was kind of tough really to work, because I didn't really know what they were going to do, because it's very hard to kind of work with people who, when your teammate keeps changing every couple of weeks, you know, that's not really ideal. But for me this time, obviously being with Farrell, you know what you're going to get with Farrell. He's a down-to-earth fella, very nice fella, very passionate, and we both know what we're doing with the car, and the co-op season we're doing at the moment also kind of helps, because we're in the Aston Martin for that, and you know, we're kind of feeding off each other and whatever. We both have a stock setup, and then we both kind of change it to our own personal preferences. You know, we don't really have a stock setup. Oh no, this is what we're going to do. No, we're very kind of flexible in that way, that if we think, oh no, I don't like to look at this, or he like, our driving styles are actually completely different. He likes an understeery car with that has a good rear end. I prefer an oversteery car personally myself. So that also has to be obviously brought into consideration as well, you know. So that I think it's good also looking from that point of view, that you've got two different driving styles completely. But yeah, you've got two people who know what they're doing with setups, and I think that's it's going to work well in this season, I do believe. I know Farrell didn't have the best of races yesterday, but he'll be fine. He'll get it together. I know he will.
That's it. Like we've won like 3 constructors titles together, so like he's not like a bad driver. Like he's just gone through a bad patch, and a few races there, like he's there, like even like at the start of the last season in Bahrain short. Well, technically that was our first race, because whatever happened, but like we're good together. Like we had like in Bahrain short, like we were behind. I was behind them, and people are saying, "Oh, he's gonna let you." But I told them to race along, keep going. Keep going.
Absolutely, you did. Yeah, that's I was in the party for that.
Yeah.
And there was and you did.
And there's no like that. Farrell, like if you're ever like, because I was like a couple of times like we're down the tow, like we've done perfected it, but sometimes once we've
Yeah.
I don't know before I'll put my hand up to that, but look, it's good to know with a teammate, and I think people in the league should just text their teammate. And I know it's a bit strange, not a different person, but it's good to get new people. And trust me, with Farrell, like I didn't even know any of us, didn't know Farrell. Like I found talking to you, and then it just happened, and then. It's good to have a teammate and a good insight, because
absolutely.
And I think that's why I put you two together, because he's gel right, and he's still like, I still think he's will put up with constructors fight as well. So it's still a long way to go, and it's only one race in. But
yeah, absolutely, only one race down. Obviously next week now, the title of the championship could look completely different, and then we're looking at seeing something different afterwards. So
that's it. Like, you could see the championship flip, as you said. Yeah.
Like, obviously, I had my great result this week. Why can't Farrell do it next week?
That's it. You know? And like,
of course he can. There's no reason why he can't, and I think he can, 100%.
Like, and it's good. Like Steve's leading the championship, but it's mad to think like how many times the championship could change during the season. But like, I still think you're going to be there, Colin, and it's great. And I'm delighted that there's so much competition in Tier 1, because really gives the league a good boost. I think this season's going to give it a nice boost. And I think Tier 1 is going to be, it's going to, like, I know what qualifying wasn't the closest this week, but it is going to be close. It's just, I don't think it matters qualifying. I think the race pace is just so close. If you had everyone's race pace together, it'd be a lot closer than it was in qualifying. But
100%.
Yeah, so that you broke our teammate down, and then obviously that's really that. And who's the man to beat, Colin, this season? Who's the man to beat besides yourself?
Yeah. Before the season, I have to say, I thought it would be Sully. I have to say that, because like, people are talking about consistency or whatever. The guy's got 20 podiums in LOI, and that is something that you can't forget that. There's no way you can forget that. I think Sully still is the man to beat, personally. I do. But I think one of the two Mercedes is going to be right there at the end. I really do. I think one of those two lads is going to be there at the end.
I agree.
But we'll wait and see. I mean, I would be surprised, and I know this could be harsh now, lads, people listening in. I'd be surprised if Mercedes didn't win the constructors, the two lads. I would be very, very surprised. But again, you never know. One of them might have a bad race and it changes again. But that's just my view.
That's it. Like you have very good drivers there. Like, you have the two lads in America. You have Connell and Jack. Like, that is terrible. Like, that's a frightening team. Like, that's frightening. Like, that's terribly frightening. That is, like, you don't realise it. And then you have Mike and O'Shane. Like, they're great. Like, O'Shane, he's finished P2 in a championship. Like, that lad could be knocking on the door.
If O'Shane can get back to anywhere near where he was in season 4, he could be right there.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's all it takes. It can take one result, or it can take just 1 second maybe where you go, oh geez, that was a great save. It just might be something small like that goes, you know what, I can actually do this now. That's all it takes, just a flick of a switch, or it could be anything.
Then you have the Tier 2, the new boys. You have Mr. Enright, you have Slim coming up. Like, that's bringing a nice addition to another world title.
Absolutely.
And then you have the likes of, like, Sully, his teammate, as you said. Sully has, like, he's 20 podiums for nothing, and obviously had one bad race. And people just forget about that. Like, people just say, look, he's out, like, the championship. But I think deep down, he's not. He's a force to reckon with, and I know Sully too well. Like, about driving wise, he'll be there.
Be there by the end. He'll be there by the end.
Yeah, and
I think what we have to remember as well is, you've had races. The first race of the season is always a chaotic race. it's never straightforward. It's never like the first race of last season. Lando Norris got a podium. Hamilton was fourth. Oh, Hamilton's this, Hamilton's that. Still won the championship by a mile. In real F1. So strange things happen in the first weekend of the season. We'll get a good idea. Obviously, weeks 4, 5, 6 really is when I can't think. Well, that's when we'll get a good idea of what the order's going to be like.
That's it.
You know, so
yeah,
that's kind of the way I see it, really.
Like you have Lamo there as well. He's another good driver. You have
very good. Don't forget Bucks from last season.
Bucks, yeah. Bucks. Don't forget Bucks. Bucks is just the man who just
hanging around,
yeah, and he was sneak. Like it's not like he's just there. Like you just presume, and it's good. And he just was there. Like it's just, you know what I mean? And you get used to it, and then you have like so many good drivers.
The one interesting thing for me actually about the whole championship is what's Tommy going to be like when he comes back. That for me will be very, very interesting. And what deficit will he have to make up?
That's it,
because he doesn't, like, obviously Steve winning this one, what he doesn't need, like, he doesn't want to be 40 points behind after 2 races, you know, and that's obviously the trouble for having the problems he had at the end of last season. But people forgetting that he'll be there or thereabouts as well. He's more than quick enough to be there or thereabouts.
Yeah, that's it. And he just needs to be, like, he's a great driver, and he just needs to be there.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'll actually say this myself. I was Tommy's age a couple of years ago. I'm 22 now, going on 23 next month. At 19, 20, whatever Tommy's is, I was hyper. I was really hyper. I was this and that at home and whatever. Obviously, being in LOI has made me personally just calm down, relax, look, whatever happens, happens, and move on. That's just the thing he has to learn. Do you know, that's all. I'm not critical of Tommy or anything, I don't want to be, but that's just the only thing he has to be concerned about. You know, I don't want to be critical of him or anything. Obviously he's won a championship in tier 2, but yeah, that's kind of what he kind of has to look at, really, you know. It's not,
and so, like, about what's the goal now? What's the points to win? Tier. I'm gonna ask every driver what tier they're in. I'm gonna see who gets it right. So what's?
I said to you before the start of the season, 155 will win the championship, and I still believe 155 will win it.
155. That's.
I'm going 155. I think there will be genuinely 7 or 8 different race winners this season, and hopefully to God I could be one of them. But
that's it. That's
it. I genuinely think there could be races where you'll have some surprise winners, you know. Some, maybe Liam winning one that he hasn't won for a while. Or, you know, I think coming to Monaco now, obviously, Dan's been very strong in Monaco every time we've done it. We've done it ourselves, 3 of us, so he'll be looking good this week, I think. So, you just never know, though. That's the thing. I do think there'll be 7 or 8 winners this season, though. I think it will go down to the wire, but it'll be about more podiums.
So 155.
155 for me will be I think will be the winner. Anyone can get over that.
That's a good little benchmark. That's what I used to do myself. Is just always hit 180. 180 was the yoke.
Yeah.
Just hit a 180 and then you go for your own little goals. But like, yeah, that's good. That's good insight. That's all I have to say about the racing terms. But people like what like I know we're in a pandemic and all, but things are lifting up, and you really are, like, all I have to say is just like you're very, like, you have a big major role in the league now, and I think like you're very good, like, to helping out, and to myself that means so much to me, and and other drivers. I think you're one of the nicest people in the league as I met. Like, I know you could easily say that one is nice, but you're a very nice lad, Colin, and that's thanks for everything. As me, just to say that, thanks. And So, like, obviously outside F1, like, do you do anything in your daily life, like, or anything, or?
Well, it's harder now. Like, do you know what? I'm actually a member of the Liverpool Supporters Club, so I used to go to Liverpool all the time, and I'm actually finally able to go back over this weekend. So I'm actually really, really looking forward to that. So that'll be great. And over COVID, obviously I played the odd bit of golf. I had to do college online. It's just not easy. And to be honest with you, the League of Ireland kind of kept me going, really, to be honest with you. And since kind of February when I joined it, it's funny to think how I've gone from February of just one driver to now where I'm tier 2 admin and an LOI commentator. And it's absolutely brilliant. Do you know what I mean? It keeps me going and it keeps me wanting to do stuff and know more about the corner names and corners and all these little things, that you pick up, and it's fantastic. And then I've actually been to a couple of F1 races, and we're hoping.
Yeah. Actually, gonna bring that up too.
I'm hoping to go back to a couple of races again soon. That would be really good. And there's a few I'd love to go to myself again, and a few obviously I'd love to go to that I've never been to. So that's something I would really, really love to do when all this is finally over. Hopefully.
Yeah. And what races, like, the people would like to know? Like, what races have you been to?
So I've been at a few good ones actually. So I was at the 2012. It was the European Grand Prix. It was in Valencia. It was Fernando Alonso won that race. It was his home race. He was 11th on the grid. But that was mostly remembered for Michael Schumacher and his last podium. His last podium in his F1 career, his only podium with Mercedes. So I think that was incredible, that race, because the crowd were going ballistic at Alonso, and I was the McLaren fan, and Hamilton put in the wall 1.5 lap. Well, Maldonado put Hamilton in the wall 1.5 laps to go, and I was sick after that race. I really was. I couldn't believe what had happened in that race. So that was just one of them ones. That was one actually. It's interesting because I was kind of against the crowd. Like, the crowd in F1 are really good and the fans are very passionate. But when Alonso made an overtake, you could hear it. Do you know what I mean? You can see the screens in front of you, but you just know when it was. You can hear the roars all around the track, and you can just hear everything. So then that was that. And the next one I was at was 2013, the year afterwards. It was Silverstone. Now, that was a lot different because that was my old man and my dad, who was with me, is a Mercedes fan, and Hamilton was on pole position in his first year as Mercedes. And remember the year that the tyre blowers, Paddy? Remember the year the tyres blew out? That was that race in Silverstone. It was incredibly hot, and I believe your old mate Vettel decided to have a breakdown in that race.
Yeah, and I remember that, like, that was, I remember he was leading it, and he was
leading it very comfortably. Hamilton was leading it comfortably. His tyre blew up behind, and then Vettel retired, parked on the pit straight, and they had to bring the safety car out because if someone lost the car there, it was just going straight into the other car. So they had to bring out the safety car with 10 laps to go, and it just made an absolute cracker. And do you know what? It was Rosberg won it, but the whole crowd were rooting on Mark Webber, because he just announced his retirement from the sport. And I would have personally loved to see Mark Webber up on that podium winning that race, but do you know what? It wasn't to be. It was Rosberg. And
that's
it. So that was a shame.
That, and the week after, they went back to last year's tour compound.
They did. I remember there was a big meeting afterwards. I remember all that. That was that was controversial for its own reasons as well. That one.
Yeah, that's 8 years ago now when you think about it. That was so.
Should have been on the phone. Oh, it really does. Okay, well.
But,
fair enough. So then the next one, I was going to this one actually in a couple of weeks' time. I was at Monza myself in 2014. 2014. And there was controversy behind that race as well, because that year was Hamilton v Rosberg in Spa the week before, because they always do the Spa and Monza double header. So the week before, Rosberg obviously hit Hamilton, and people were giving out about him only getting a racing incident or whatever it was. And that was that. And then Rosberg cut the chicane, and there's a few pundits out, Italian pundits out there saying, it was deliberate. It was very deliberate from Rosberg to cut the chicane to give Hamilton the win. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. Could have been, you never know, but...
Yeah, that's true.
That was that race, and I have actually had one of the best overtakes. I know you're not gonna like this one either. It was I was sitting at the second chicane. It was the 2 Red Bulls. I know Daniel Ricciardo last in the late breakers doing Sebastian Vettel a good dummy, diving up the inside into the second chicane. One of the best moves I've seen live in front of me.
Yeah, that was a good move. That was
that was something I really enjoyed, and that was great to actually see that live, because you don't see many overtakes. There's some tracks where you see those overtakes live, but others you don't. And like my last race was Silverstone again, Silverstone 17. Now that one wasn't as good because Hamilton was very comfortable. It was Hamilton v Vettel, and Vettel ended up behind a Red Bull. And it was never really going to be... we'll get to that in a minute, Ben. Just relax. But it was never really going to be... never a race, really. Because Vettel had to do a different strategy to clear Verstappen, and Hamilton was very comfortable. That type of race. So... it was what it was. The great thing actually about the Silverstone race, it's my favourite circuit in the game because I've been there twice. And the great thing about it was the way the ticket system worked was you could actually go wherever you wanted for qualifying and for practice and for all the F2 races and everything. You could go wherever you want. So you can explore other areas of the track, but then on the race day, you have your allocated seat.
Yeah, that's
and it was actually brilliant to see because I was in Maggots and Beckett's for qualifying, for example. Now I saw Alonso topping Q1. There was a big roar when that happened. I was delighted.
Yeah, that
was Alonso and the McLaren.
That was when
mixed conditions.
Yeah, the that's when I would start getting drier. Yeah, it was an overcast day. That was real dark. It was wet. It
was raining. It was raining very hard for practice 3, and we had to get cover. We were down by Abbey, and we had to go back to Club Corner to get cover. And yeah, that was that really. And then it started to stop raining a little bit then, and then it kind of rained again half an hour before qualifying. And I remember in Q1 they all went out in slicks, and they all had to go back in again for inters, and had to refuel the cars, and it's all this lot going on. And then Ricciardo broke them, so we knew we had a car at the back and when they come through the fields, and he did very well in the end. But that was kind of what the main part of the race was. Vettel got the puncture actually at the end. Remember that? 2 Ferraris both got the puncture. It was front left, if I remember.
Yeah, like sorry, my controller died literally there when you're talking.
I've actually just seen that there. The screen ran in front of me.
Yeah. So like, I heard punchers. Yeah, and Raikkonen had one as well. The 2 of them did have one. But
2 Ferraris did. That's been my experience of F1 anyway, and I'd love to obviously go back to races again, and it'd be brilliant if we could all be at one really. I mean, if it was the Triple LOI or whatever, it would be absolutely fantastic. It really would, so.
And that's it. That's 100%. Like you have knowledgeable of it in real life, and maybe next year. Or probably the end of next season or something, 2022 with the new cars. We'll probably organise an LOI trip away.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell you what, one of the easiest ones to get to would have been Portugal, but I don't think we'd be able to go there because probably won't have it on next season.
Yeah, that's true. That's
a killer. That's a bit of a killer.
But we'll see what happens. But
yeah, absolutely.
And plus we'll have an awards night as well with everybody, so it'll be good. A lot of things looking forward to with a live awards night. It'll be good, and obviously I'll try to get as many as the drivers as we can, and past and present and future. But that's really have to say, Colin. And do you have anything more to add yourself or anything, or? It was good to people. It's good now to probably watch this back now they're in their beds, or they could be anywhere. They could be going on transport journey. They could be in the car. Well, anything else to say? No,
not really. Just best of luck to everybody, and see what happens for racing now. It would be fantastic. a tough all race weekend this weekend, and it was tough in Australia. It'll be tough again this week, but there's just the best of luck to everyone, and just try your best to keep it out of the wall. Really, that's kind of all I'd say. Really, you know. So
that's it, and it was great to have you on, Colin, as well. It was good to have the old chats and your insight and breaking it down race by race, and opening up about yourself as well, about like going to races and what you like, the old golf and.
I like the golf, the soccer's big into as well.
Yeah, Liverpool's. Yes. So
it's fantastic, obviously. So yeah, I'd love to go back to Silverstone again if I got the chance, but of course it's not going to be easy. But that is what it is. So
what would be your main sport anyway?
Soccer. I've been mostly into the soccer. I'd obviously, I wouldn't watch every single match, but I watch the majority of the matches whenever I can, you know. I personally don't like league racing. What I didn't want to do was league race 2-3 league races. That'd be no good for me, because then that takes away something from my life, which is Liverpool related soccer, and the fact I kind of go over there a fair bit, but also like I couldn't really race on the weekends personally, just my view. Other people are different, obviously. I just couldn't do it because I need to have my weekends off so I can watch the Premier League, or I can watch, watch the Grand Prix, or I can just watch something and just chill out. You can
chill out. It's good to switch off from the game too. I know the game.
And I think having having one League of Ireland and a bit of commentary, I think suits me perfectly. It really does.
Yeah, so. Like that's a lot, like you do anyway, and it's.
Yeah. And like the other thing for me is I'm just finished college now, so I'm going to be applying for jobs now at the moment and everything, and just it's not going to be easy. But whenever I get to start working, I'm going to have to cut back a small bit. So that's just there's no point committing to a league race now and in a month later go, oh no, I actually can't do it. Racing time.
Yeah, that's true, and like the world changes real quick, and getting back to some normality, and obviously that's why we shrunk it there. Like, but this is big. That like there's still a demand. Like it's still like it's precious as well. Like because it's we're so like as us Irish people, no matter whether you're from Cork or you're the Donegal or Dublin, Wexford, or anywhere in the country, like. It's we just want to compete, and it's a country thing as well, so it's
I think the great thing about League of Ireland, and one of the reasons we wanted to join it badly, is when we're on track, we're all competitors, we're all racing each other 100% of the time. We're off track in the drivers chat and everything, we just take the absolute piss out of one another. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what it's all about. Like, that's what's great about it.
That's it. It's just have fun, and obviously.
Oh, absolutely, have a bit of fun.
And then I know a few of us have all met up, but look, the awards night would be a good out night, and obviously we could book a hotel room and then a function room.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we could stay the night, and you can have a few shandies or a few Diet Cokes or Club Orange or your Coca-Colas or your Coke Zeros, you know what I mean? But
absolutely,
yeah, that's the way. It's good to know, Colin, and I don't know much more to say, and I've broke you down there, and it was good to look back at your stats and your races and what you've achieved.
Absolutely.
And I just want to wish you the best this season, because
thank you, Paddy.
I want to wish you the best this season, and yes, you're there with a show. I'll give you that. Keep doing what you're doing, and good things will come. But I'll leave it there. And Colin, you're going to be the podcast, going to be out helping me coming in some nights,
I will be there.
And it's good to have your insight and obviously your knowledge and on things, and you're very very good with the stats as well. Like, it's good to see, and it's important to have stats in the league as well.
100%. Yeah, absolutely 100%. You need to have them on, and you need to I know I get absolutely dogs abuse for writing the notes down and everything, but that's just something I have to do to have all my stats down. You know, you have to do what you have to do, like so.
That's look, Colin. I had an A4 sheet of paper of everything on. Like I have a book.
I'm the same as you.
So look, it's once you have like we have 80 drivers, we had 100, like and over 100 and something in the Discord, so you need to keep them down. But just want to say thank you, and whoever wants. I'm gonna get more people, have a chat, get to know them more. Like it's not like gonna be a serious, not gonna interview and all. It's just have a bit of a chill out.
Chill out, just.
And there's a lot of people that know in the league, but I just want to know if a few more people might want to know someone else, and it's good to get your thoughts and your ideas for the season and your commitments. And that's good with the Liverpool Supporters Club. That's a good one. Didn't expect that, but yeah, leave it there. So that's League of Ireland. As I say, Big Pat's podcast, like that, Colin. But that's it. So I'll put in the Discord whoever wants to join in. I'll do like a ticket or something, and it's good to get other people on, and I'll be happy to get this on. But I'll try to do it as much as I can, even on a Thursday when no one's racing and it's out of the way. Or could have one tomorrow or the day after when I'm free. But that rounds us off on the podcast, so make sure to tune in on Sunday for Tier 4 at 9 PM in Monte Carlo in Monaco. We have, you don't know, I can't even pick a winner for that. And then you go in the tier.
I think the one thing that's guaranteed is my old mate Bernd Mailander will be coming out at some stage.
Yeah, that's true. And then we go to Tier 2 at 10 PM.
10 PM on Monday. I will be on comms for that one.
Yeah, Colin will be on the commentary sides and that with Real Johnny in it. Was it? No, that's what Cav. Sorry, Cav. Apologise. Got mixed up.
Connell will be back on comms on Sunday. I don't know with who yet though.
That's it.
It won't be Johnny anyway.
Yeah, look, that's it.
We'll can't be there, so
we'll organise that, and then obviously we'll have Tier 1, Josh Schneider 6000 and LOI Ben Ratcliffe in the commentary box for Tier 1 in Monte Carlo in Monaco, and then obviously we go to the last race of the week, and that'll be myself and LOI Wheelo in Tier 3 in the commentary box at 9 PM on Wednesday. So that rounds us off, and if you like that, make sure to give us a like and a follow. We have an Instagram page, we've nearly 300 followers on it, and make sure to subscribe to our YouTube, and make sure to follow the Twitter and all social media platforms. Good night and God bless.